Please, pastors, don't think I'm trying to uproot nobody from your church, but I got to preach this. Please, don't take it like that. Please. But when you love you, Lord, this is uncomfortable. When you love you and when you honor you, you're going to seek the will of God and see what God is saying. You will seek Him. Please, leaders, don't take it like that, please. But I have to preach this because it's so much God's people withering in ministries, and God said, your time is up. Your time is up. And I thank y'all for not showing no emotions on that. But I'm loving me and honoring me. I'm seeking God to love Him. So y'all gotta understand I struggle because I preach this, and this is the one and only. And I go places and I have to preach this thing, and I'm so uncomfortable and I struggle with it. And you don't understand. I've been stoned sometimes for this. You really don't understand. This is not my first time preaching this and talking about this. I've had some don't even want to open their doors to me again because I have to preach it. God said, you got to preach it. You have to. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, you don't like it, but you have to preach it. Because many of my people in this region is dying spiritually. And I told Revelatory Ministries, and guess what? There's only a few of us. And guess what? First thing, man, you mean you're trying to get on, you can get it. Guess what? I said, God, you do your divine will. But even though it's few, if two need to leave, one need to leave, this, if their season is up, prepare my heart, prepare my spirit to depart from them in peace. That I can send them to the next level, that they don't serve me in grievance and serve me and they actually grieve from the fact that they're not happy anymore because their season is up and they can't explain it. And many need to see it but won't explain it to them because they've been selfish and don't want them to go. Do we really love us? It's not confusing. They're going to leave in peace. They're going to do it right. It's because God said they obeyed me. And many are going to stay and wither. Let me get off that. Oh my gosh. And that fell under the divine will of God in your proper place. In the kingdom. Proper place in the kingdom. Proper place in the kingdom. Are we in our proper place in the kingdom? Last one and I'm finished. It's praying next that you understand that I preach the love, I preach the purity, I don't preach God's word. Let's pray that you walk away with that understanding. Last one, sons and daughters. To be a son and a daughter is one that's willing to allow himself to be trained by the Spirit of God. And also qualification that he will become a true son and a true daughter in the Spirit. A true son and a true daughter. That they can actually classify that one has been trained and taught about their nature. It's just that they're chosen vessel that's over. I'm all for training, I'm all for imparting, I'm all for that. But what we're supposed to do, we're supposed to receive it. The time is not up, stay, we better stay dedicated and committed. it is, see God. Sons and daughters, when they're in a place with God and His people, His leadership, they allow themselves to be trained by the Spirit of God, leadership, to become a son and a daughter in the gospel. That it can be one that you can look upon and call upon and say, that's my daughter, that's my son, that has been trained and taken on a part of the Spirit. You know a son and a daughter when you see the byproduct of that person, that leading spirit of that person. If you don't have a part of the leading spirit, then they are not your son, they're not your daughter. That's not your spiritual father. That's just your pastor. That's just the leader. That's not your spiritual father. Our spiritual father, you let him part into you. You don't want to let them preach to you every Sunday. And a lot of God's people just letting someone preach to them, but they're not being imparted into you. Because impartation is what Elder just did with me. He walked with me. And when you want to be imparted to as a son and a daughter, you walk with leadership. You go with leadership. You suffer with leadership. So that you can gain the sonship and daughtership as a son and daughter in the gospel. Because that's a part of impartation. So do we have sons and daughters, or do we have church members? God's looking for sons and daughters in the gospel that can be trained by their leaders, trained by this apostle, trained by this pastor, trained by this co-pastor, trained by this elder, trained by this first lady co-pastor. That can be trained. And as they're being trained, they allow the Spirit to become subject to leadership in a way to the point where they're now being classified as a son. That when you see a part of the daughter, you see the mother. You see the attributes because you're taking on part of their spirit. And you're classified as my spiritual son. Ask you, God, people of God. Do we really love ourselves? When we look at our association in our country, when we look at giving of our resources and ourselves, when we look at our gifting and our calling and our honor, when we look at our submission and obedience, when we should look at our dedication and commitment, when we look at our love walk and our forgiveness and our purity in love, and when we look at impartation and training, are we one that can say, I love me? Amen? Amen. Let us stand.